Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Matador Express. I'm Everett. I'm the sports editor here at the Daily Toreador.
And I'm Quintin Marquez, a sports writer for the DT.
We got a lot to talk about this week. Still in full swing of Tech volleyball, Tech football, and we got even our soccer team. They're going on the road this week. Tomorrow actually. They're going to take on Oklahoma in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. So they're getting into the heat of the schedule there. First off, though, we're going to start talking about our volleyball team. Rough week for the volleyball team last week. You know, it's always terrible. You got to take on the number 2 team in the nation, especially when you're not quite up to that caliber yet, which I don't think Don Flores' team is yet. So they take on number 2 Texas at home last week and lose in 3 straight sets. Quentin, I know you were at that game. What did you think of the way the Red? Did they put up a fight or anything like that? What did you think of the way they
I was there for the game, and I just got to say about the Texas women's volleyball team. Those chicks can play some volleyball, and I mean, it wasn't just like they were fast or talented. They were just the size is what got us.
Mm-hmm.
All their 3 of their starters over 6'3". I mean, it was like watching a bunch of Shaquille O'Neals trying to play volleyball. Texas, they're ranked 2 for a reason. Like they are tall. I think when they're freshmen that was starting, seriously, she looked like LeBron James on a volleyball court.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. Like I said, they're ranked number 2 in the nation. Texas is perennially in the NCAA tournament in the postseason. Tech's been getting better each year that they've had Coach Flora, but they haven't reached that point yet where they're in the NCAA tournament. Definitely not on the level of Texas, they got the recruiting powerhouse. They got all the money in the world in their athletic department just to get those, like you said, those big, tall, athletic players in there. People want to go play volleyball at Texas. They're a good program there. This week, though, Tech's going to go back to the USA. They're going to take on Baylor. They lost on the road against Baylor earlier this year, but they did beat Baylor once last year. So maybe Coach Flores thinking that after some tough tests against Texas the past week or so, maybe they'll be able to come back home and take it a little easier. Not easier with Baylor, but they'll be able to step it up against Baylor this week.
Well, all I know is that we need to step it up when it comes to volleyball. 13-10 overall, 2-7 in the conference. I mean, 2-7 in the conference? I mean, I think we have a great team. I think we play hard. I think we fight for victories. But just right now, Tech volleyball just isn't where those top teams are.
Yeah, they don't have the caliber of players that those top teams get, and I think Coach Flores is working them in that right direction.
I think he's a great coach.
But they're not able to get to that point yet, which is kind of sad for these seniors that won't be able to get to that point at this point in their careers. But I think it's good for them to know they're leaving a legacy where they've built up, they've gotten better. It's still looking like maybe Tech could probably, if they get a couple Big 12 wins, they get in with a record above 500 this year, which would be a big improvement for the last couple of years. So I think that would be good for those seniors to leave that legacy of at least they're taking the Tech.
It's a foundation.
Program. Yeah,
it's all about foundation. We're trying to build a house. Got to have a good foundation.
That's right. Soccer team last week took on Iowa State. Probably one of their easiest Big 12 wins of the year. Although it wasn't Ames. Probably a little cold down there. I don't know. I hadn't been to Iowa, but
I heard it was freezing down there.
Yeah, they win 2-0 on the road. Iowa State last in the Big 12. Like I said, pretty easy win for them. But now they go on the road. Who they got to take on this week, Quinn? What they got?
This week starts the Big 12 conference tournament. So they're going to Kansas City tomorrow, the 4th. 2 o'clock, they play, what you say, Oklahoma?
They play Oklahoma, yeah.
It's going to last from the 4th up to the 8th. We'll see how the Tech girls do. They're right in the middle where it comes to the Big 12. When it comes to being one of the top teams, where like West Virginia, Texas is considered in there, but I mean, they're not really.
Yeah.
They didn't show me much, but they are way ahead, years ahead of Iowa State.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely
I think we should have beat them by more than just 2, but.
Yeah, I know we had a couple freshmen score in that game. That's a good sign. You know, Tech, like you said, middle of the pack this year, but they did lose a lot of senior leadership last year.
And we tied a lot of games.
Yeah, they had Janine Becky, they had Allie Murphy this year, but they did lose some. It's like Jaylene Hinkle that was with the team last year, and they have a young team this year. So being middle of the pack in a good Big 12 conference with a bunch of young players, it's not something to be ashamed of. Definitely.
Well, I followed them the whole season. Like I said, they tied a lot of games that they had a chance to win. But I mean, the fact that they didn't win those games doesn't mean they're bad. They didn't lose them. They just tied with them. When it comes to the game against Texas a couple weeks ago, that should have been a win for us. It came at the last 15 seconds of the game. Texas just happened to score. I think, honestly, Tech is probably number 2 or 3 from what I've seen, but it's not what the record shows. But I think in the Big 12 tournament, they're going to show exactly where they're at.
You know, last year Tech was one of those top conference teams. I think they were 2 or 3, and they ended up going in and losing to Texas in the first round on penalty kicks. They played through the first overtime, second overtime, ended up losing that game on penalty kicks. It was a rough loss for that team, but I think they used it kind of as motivational once they got in the NCAA tournament. So maybe they go on a run here after finishing middle of the pack, and maybe they can end up pushing for that conference championship or something like that.
I think Coach Stone's got a great set of group of girls over there, so I think they'll be ready to play in this Big 12
speaking
tournament.
of those girls, Janine this week, first time ever in Texas Tech soccer history, which program hadn't been around that long, but she won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, which this was her second year in a row to win that. She's also named on the Big 12 all first team Big 12, and then Allie Murphy was on the all Big 12 second team. So that was some good for those girls to get some recognition for. I mean, they've been solid leaders on this team this year, and Janine pretty much scores with ease, it seems like, whenever she wants to.
In some of these games, when she wants to, she can, like, she is their number one option when it comes to scoring for Tech. Now that Janine Becker are leaving and Allie Murphy's leaving, I think we have a couple more seniors leaving, it's time for these freshmen that we just acquired, which I think was like 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah, they got 8 or 9 of them.
It's time for them to step up starting next year, and they're gonna push forward and start a new legacy here at Tech. So.
And the Tech football team did not do as well as the soccer team last week. They got out to a fast start with Cliff the last couple weeks. Tech struggled. They struggled against OU last week, or week before last. Struggled against Kansas on the road the week before that. Cliff's been talking about how they needed a fast start. Tech in this Oklahoma State game goes up 17-0.
Dude, I think it was 2 different games. I think we were all watching one half, and we thought that was one game, Definitely. And then we saw the second half, and both teams kind of just flip-flopped because in the first half, Texas Tech was dominant. Like you said, up 17-0. Pat Mahomes was looking great. Jakeem Grant could do no wrong.
Jakeem Grant was incredible in that. I don't know if you've seen the highlights from that game. Jakeem Grant had one early in the game, had a pass where he catches it like in the flat, probably like a little 3-yard dump off that Mahomes had. Cuts it back to the right side of the field, gets all the way there, gains probably about 10 or 15 yards, cuts it back again, jukes, he broke probably 4 or 5 tackles, jukes a bunch of Oklahoma State defenders out, gets it all the way, runs it 90 yards. I mean, that was like the total yardage from the line of scrimmage. I think ESPN counted, he ended up running like 153 yards on the play. Gets all the way down to the 10-yard line.
He looked like Pac-Man. Like, it was like he was going back and forth, and they still couldn't catch him.
They couldn't.
He went back and forth at least 3 times. They still couldn't catch him. His 40 is like
he's
a Corvette.
Crazy fast.
I want to see him race a Corvette on foot and see how he does. He's that fast. I mean, no one can catch him.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was a lot of fun talking to him this week. I know they talked to him in media availability yesterday after practice, and some ESPN reporters were here and stuff. Some of those big-time national guys asking him how he thinks he'd do in the NFL and stuff like that. And Jakeem, I mean, you could just feel it, that frustration for all these people dogging him for being a short guy. He's like 5'6", 5'7".
He's not very tall, but you know what? In football, it's not all about height. It's all about being huge and big.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're as fast as he is, and you have that talent that he does, you could do anything. Like
Cliff talked about in the press conference. He's got a better ability of stopping and then starting again as anybody Cliff's ever been around. So it was great to see Jakeem step up in that game. He also had a 100-plus yard kickoff return for a touchdown early in that game. That was crazy.
I saw that. All I know is I saw Jakeem on one corner. Like less than 5 seconds later, he's already at the 40 on this side.
Yeah.
Going for it. I saw the whole play go down. It was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in football. Honestly.
So first half, Jakeem scores 2 touchdowns. He had like 210 all-purpose yards just in the first half alone, or first quarter alone. But then Tech falls off the second half. They get 3 defensive stops in a row. Tech hadn't had 3 different defensive stops in a row like all season.
The defense looked great in the first half.
But then Tech could not score, and they let Oklahoma State hang around and ended up losing by a couple touchdowns, 70-53 in that game. It was rough loss. I know for all those that were there. There were a bunch of students dressed up. They were excited about that game. Lose 70-53 is not fun.
Some highlights for me, not only for the game. I mean, it was Halloween, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Tech did score over 50 points. It was a high-scoring game. Halloween costumes everywhere. I saw a Lego Masked Rider. Yeah. That was probably pretty cool. Saw Hulk Hogan. Saw Mr. Peanut. Saw inflatable swinging arms man. It was 2 chicks, and they were like doing this number.
Yeah.
Awesome game. It was an awesome event to go to, even though we didn't pull out the win. I think we can continue to show the nation exactly what Texas Tech football is all about and where we're going from here. Like, this is a starting point.
Yeah, they're definitely taking a step in the right direction.
And we're going in the right direction. We're not the Tech of 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the just Tech that's there playing football, whatever. It's an easy win. We are not an easy win anymore. I think we're showing that. We've had, 2 games over 50 points?
Yeah, we lost. ESPN talked about we're the only team in the nation that has scored more than 50 points in 2 games and still lost. So if you don't remember, that was TCU game, lost that one, a heartbreaker. And then we lose this one late in the fourth quarter. Tech was in it. Tech was down by 3. Could have had a chance to go down there and score, and Mahomes ends up throwing a pick. They kind of sealed the game after that. So it was a rough loss, but this week they get a chance to make up for it. Kind of a middle-of-the-pack team like they are right now, at least. West Virginia, they're going to go on the road. What do you think is going to happen in that game, Quintin?
West Virginia hasn't won a game in our conference yet. They're 0-4 when it comes to conference play. It is going to be in Morgantown. I heard that's a tough place to play. But honestly, I think our guys can do it. I think, honestly, if we get our offense started as quickly as we have the past couple of games, I think we can take this game away and by a big margin.
Yeah, I know that West Virginia's played a lot of the same teams that Tech has lost to. With that, they got TCU lost, they got Oklahoma State lost, and so it's been some good teams that have beat them. I think it's a good West Virginia team, but like you said, if Tech can start fast,
when you think about the losses that Texas Tech has had, it's been at the end of the game. Like we are able to score really quick within 2 minutes on some of these games. This past game against Oklahoma State, we scored on the second
it's like 46,
second down that we did. First drive, second play that we played, we had already scored. I mean, we scored quick, and a lot of these losses that we had, with the exception of maybe Baylor, I think, in OU maybe, I think Texas Tech could have taken some of these games.
Yeah. So it should be a good matchup. That game's going to be at 11 a.m. Like Quintin said, in Morgantown. It'll be 12 in West Virginia time, but 11 a.m. Central. It'll be on Fox Sports.